Do you want a quick profit with zero risk? Are you too dumb to understand finance? Have you ever sent money to a Nigerian prince? Well, look no more! I'll give you 50% profit on your investment in 30 days! If you think it's too good to be true, well, you are right, because this is obviously a scam, but my cute face tricked you into a Ponzi scheme. Sorry.
I landed in this country with $2.50 in cash and $1 million in hopes, and those hopes never left me," said Charles Ponzi, the man the scheme was named after.
So, what is a Ponzi scheme? In simple words, it's rob Peter to pay Paul. Simply, it's paying money to old investors with the money of the new ones, which creates the illusion of profits and a successful business plan, while in fact all of the investors' money will be pocketed by the schemer, especially since most people will invest that money they gained back into the scheme. The man behind the scheme. Charles Ponzi was born in Italy in 1882. He later moved to Rome and was accepted to Sapienza University, but he never attended classes. From a young age, he discovered that book learning and being a decent human being weren't for him. He was always on the lookout for shortcuts. He heard stories about Italians going to America and making money and deciding to give it a go. He said goodbye to hundreds of his siblings and arrived in the USA with only $2.05 in his pocket after losing all his money playing cards on the way. He worked as a busboy and was fired soon after stealing from his customers, which is kind of a spoiler for what's coming next. A couple of years later, he moved to Montreal, Canada, and found a job as an assistant teller in a local bank. He was charming, could speak multiple languages, not to mention skillful hand gestures. He was able to climb the ladder pretty quickly and finally had a shot in a stable business with good income. If not for the bank owner having been running his own scheme and getting caught for it, the bank was shut down, and Ponzi was once again penniless. At the time, desperation pushed him into forging a check for $423.58. Why this number, you ask? He assumed having a complicated number would magically give the check more legitimacy, but he was wrong. He got caught and went to prison for 3 years. After that, he went to Boston and joined the Italian Mafia. This was a joke. But what's not is he got caught smuggling Italian immigrants across the border and went to prison for 2 years. Eventually, he met a woman and fell in love. He was actually behaving for a while, running his in-laws' grocery stores, while pitching business ideas on the side to companies around the world. He got very few replies, but one really struck him. It was a letter from a Spanish company that included an IRC, or International Response Coupon. If you've never heard of it, that's fine, since Ponzi never heard of it either, since Google was sadly not a thing yet. As it turned out, this card was a serious XM spam mail. Nah, it was a coupon that could be exchanged for a postage stamp to send the mail back. Let's say you have a lover in France, and you write her a letter, but you know she doesn't love you enough and can easily do better. What would you do? Well, you include this ICR that you bought in the good old USA in the letter, which she can exchange for a stamp to her local post office in France, and can write you back for free. Ponzi quickly figured out that due to inflation, mainly caused by World War I, there was a slight difference in the ICR price in each country. By buying an ICR in France and exchanging it in the US for stamps, he could make a 10% profit. It ain't much, but it's honest work. And not to mention legal. But as we know by now, Ponzi was allergic to legal. Ponzi used this fact to pitch the most devious business plan ever, buying ICRs in bulk from across the world and selling them for a quick profit. He claimed he could guarantee a return of 50% investment in 45 days or 190 days. The plan sounds legit if you are one of the people that buy lottery tickets, but as ambitious as it wasn't feasible. The fact that shipping in bulk costs a lot of money, probably more than the 10% profits, Also, there wasn't enough ICRs in circulation that could have sustained such business, but these boring details didn't matter to Ponzi since this was never the plan. The plan was only to convince people that this was a great idea, and that they should invest in it as soon as possible to make a quick buck. He pitched the idea initially to banks, who turned him down, unsurprisingly, but he quickly realized that he was never in the finance, but in the people business. He could easily manipulate people around him into buying every word he was saying. He was never aggressive in pitching his need for investors. He only bragged about his profits, which made people line up to give him their money, which he gladly accepted. New investors were coming every day, and he became the icon for a great businessman, which led to more press interviews and, of course, investors, to a point that in one day he collected $3 million, which was around $35 million in today's money. He bought a new mansion, expensive suits with diamond pins, a gold handle cane, and probably a huge golden necklace with a cross and a ring to kiss. He also bought the bank that rejected his investment loan, and the restaurant he used to work at as a busboy just to fire his boss. This was great. For less than a year, until the Boston Post ran an investigation about his operation, which exposed his past prison time and that he was $7 million in debt and never cashed a single ICR in the United States. He got arrested for fraud. His downfall led to the collapse of 6 banks and financially ruined the lives of thousands of people. He went to prison for 3.5 years before being released on parole. He got arrested again on charges of larceny, but appealed and was released on bail, and then immediately ran away to Florida, probably to scam people to buy timeshares. Well, he didn't do that, but he did start a new scam selling swamplands as high-end properties. He got incarcerated for 7 more years and was deported back to Italy since he never managed to get American citizenship. Rumors have it that he was conning people back in Italy and had to flee to Brazil to escape the consequences. He died penniless on January 18, 1949.
No man is ever licked unless he wants to be, and I didn't intend to stay licked.
Charles Ponzi. How do you know you're in a Ponzi scheme? The rule of thumb is usually, if something is too good to be true, it probably isn't. Abnormally high invest returns, guaranteed returns with no mention risks, consistently high performance regardless of the state of the market, secretive or complex investment strategies, shady paperwork, the need for more investors, pressure to reinvest, the pressure to act now, unlicensed sellers.